Maybe she is.
Well, I was told it should end by 7, so she might be a little late.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start at 7.
Are you taping?
Yep. Teresa, you all set? You got the time?
It's so wild, I'll tell you.
Time thing?
I just,
Yeah. Brenda?
I know how she feels.
Jackie, before we start, do you have questions you wanted to put in?
You want to try to make it.
Any particular thing?
There she is.
Did you have questions?
I'm gonna stand here if you wanna.
You wanted to put in?
We got back to come to this. Keep me
Oh,
company. All right, it doesn't much me. Sorry. So we were up a little more humid up here. There's too bad.
We started out at 3 and the weather was so bad we got up till like 1:30 tomorrow.
So I think that's the one.
That's true, it was bad.
It rained down the way to Cleveland and Cleveland Bay, New York State line, it was burning my eyes. Couldn't see her.
Yeah,
I don't think you have to worry about that.
pouring down rain about that time.
All right, we're gonna start.
But we had the 2 weeks.
Okay.
You got 3 minutes for open.
We'll let everybody.
Yeah, wait for everybody to take a seat. Okay, so thank you for coming. The PTSA has been doing this for quite some time now, and what we do is we send out an invite to all of our candidates. This year there are 3. Brenda Boyle, Sharon Stewart, and Jennifer Miss Libby were invited to attend. And I'm going to quickly turn it over to our moderator, and she will explain the process from here. Jerry Bowden, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, my name is Jerry Bowden. I'm here tonight representing Niagara Region PTA, which covers Niagara County, Orleans County, the city of Tonawanda, and Grand Island. And it's one of the services we try to provide to our PTAs and to those interested in education. So I am glad that you're here tonight and that you do care. A few ground rules. The candidates will give an opening statement. They have 3 minutes for that. When we ask questions, I'll be doing the asking of questions. You may submit any questions you like. There's some 3x5 cards there. You can write them on, and then you can just give them to Betsy, and she'll bring them up here. And I will do the asking of the questions. They will have 2 minutes to respond to the question. And then at the end, when we've kind of covered everything anybody wants to ask, we'll have a 2-minute closing. So that's our plan. Teresa over here is going to be our timekeeper for those things, and she'll give the candidates a 30-second warning when they're running close, which they don't always do, but sometimes. So any questions on the format? Okay.
Good evening, thank you all for coming. Hopefully we'll be joined soon by my fellow running mates. My name's Brenda Boyle. I was born Brenda Barnard. I graduated from Tonawanda High School in '77. I've lived in Tonawanda all my life, which is 53 years. I work in the city of Tonawanda down at Walgreens Pharmacy and in the pharmacy as a technician, so I deal with our community a lot down there. I've been there for 10 years. I also am the executive director of the Tonawanda Youth Board, and I've been the executive director for the past 6 years. The board had self-imploded for a while, and the mayor had approached my husband and I to get it back on track so that our high school students would be able to participate in the Youth Days program that's held during the year for a week here. I'm not quite certain as to how many years it's gone on, but from what I understand, Youth Days is probably like 20-plus years running, and the kids look forward to that. I know they start planning like in September for the February, March event, so it's a big thing. And the youth board is participating in a lot of other community projects within the city, such as the Haunted Harbor, and we do, clean sweep. And we also tend to have people, the board comes together with possibilities of people that we honor is giving service to the youth of our community, because we don't have a whole lot of people that just offer up of themselves. We have a lot of people that pay to get work with our kids, but not those that just volunteer. So we do honor individuals once a year on that. I think, what else? I've never ran for any kind of an office before, so this is all new for me. And I'm truly hoping that, given the opportunity, it will be also a very educational process for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. All right, so we're going to now proceed, and if you came in late, just remember there are cards on the table if you'd like to write a question and turn one in. Betsy would be glad to collect that from you. Cut right to business.
Okay.
The question is on the proposed school budget. Do you support it? Where do you stand, or have any comments?
Well, I will tell you this. As a taxpayer, when I actually sent my husband to pick it up because he drives a school bus for the city. And this is what we were given. And after we sat and he and I looked at it together, there's about this much in it that actually pertains to any dollar amount. As a taxpayer, it's not what I want to see. I would have liked a line for line, and we went back the second time and inquired if there wasn't another financial statement that would give us the amount of teachers that we have in each class, what their salaries are, the amount of our administration, including secretaries, the amount of our equipment that we own, the cost of our utility expenses, what they have been, what it's projected to be. We didn't see any of that. This part is very nice if you were looking for an overall performance view of our school district. But that, I don't think, should be a part of the proposed budget, because to me this looks like nothing more than a very confused smokescreen to the budget proposal. So it's nice that we're under that 2% that Governor Cuomo had told us we needed to be under, and that's all fine and good. I don't know what programs are being cut, what teachers are being cut. None of that was available in this information. So I don't feel that we've informed our public.
Thank you. Do you have thoughts on the possibility of fifth graders being moved to the middle school?
Thoughts on fifth graders being moved to the middle school? Well, I know our classroom sizes are going down, so we probably have more available space in our middle school. I remember when they went to move our sixth graders up here, and I have felt a bit apprehensive in that, and it was certainly after my kids had gotten out of school, so it really didn't touch home. But I didn't know that I wanted the sixth graders up here where we also have high school students. And I know that they're kept separately, but there still is that mixing that does go on, and they do share certain portions of the building and stuff. So if it's a matter of consolidating, because we have the room, I could possibly, with a little bit more information, go along with that. But I'd like to really see that it was all one big campus in one area. I think that that really would be great.
Thank you. And it's a little hard when there is only one person responding because they get tired of talking. So I'll try to, give you a little breathing space
Okay.
just in between.
Okay.
The next question is regarding extracurricular activities and your thoughts on the necessity of them, if there is.
Okay. I'm all for them. I know they add expense to our taxpayers, but I really do think that extracurricular activities along with the academics is what helps to mold our youth into adults. I think it's important. I know that extracurricular activities now have become so much more than just like the drama club and band and sports. There's a lot of other things that are now going on other clubs, and I really don't know what the fiscal impact is on the school district for the extracurricular activities, but I feel they're very, very important in helping develop children. Thank you.
Now this one I've heard a little bit about. Are you familiar with The Leader in Me, 7 Habits, the Bullying Prevention Initiative? And what would you do to help promote it? So 2 parts, are you familiar with it? And then, if so, what would you do to help promote it? It's a bullying prevention initiative.
Okay. Not 100% familiar with it. I know that bullying is a big topic nowadays. I happen to work with a young pharmacist that's of 35, and he said to me a couple weeks ago, bullying's not a new thing. Bullying's gone on for years. We just have new ways of doing it with the internet access and texting and cell phones, and it tends to make weak people really strong when they don't have to have that one-on-one face that they're actually bullying. I believe that still goes on, but that used to be the old-fashioned way, was face-to-face. And sad to say, but I can remember picking on a child that used to live in my own block when we were very little. And yes, we got scolded and reprimanded for it. And I think that parents can work both ways. One, not to teach our children to bully, that is no way. It really is the person doing the bullying is the weaker of the two. And to teach the other child who is being bullied, don't let them make you feel less of a person. So I think a lot comes from back at home and how we are making our children feel self-confident at home, so that when they're out in the public that they can handle that. Thank you.
How you holding up?
I'm okay.
If you are elected to the school board, what do you think that you maybe bring to the board that somebody else doesn't? That you can contribute, maybe that somebody else can't?
I'd like to think that I'm coming here very open-minded. I've not been involved in the school system other than our bit of exposure through youth board that we're here. My kids are all way graduated and gone from high school, and I have no grandchildren in this district that would be attending. So I'd like to think with our kids of our city's best interest at heart, and yet being a taxpayer, I'd like to think that I have no ulterior motive for being here other than a very concerned citizen. And I also think that for my personal, maybe it is my personal gain, I'd like to learn a little bit more on how the whole system works. I think that observing is different than actually being a part of it. I don't know if I really covered that, but
You get to answer anyway.
I got it, basically.
And I would also just say to you, I've done, dozens of these meetings, and it is a little easier when you have multiple candidates, because sometimes then they can pick up something off of the other one, so it's a little hard for you, to just pull it out of your own brain with nothing to trigger it, so I understand. All right, this one is, what challenges do you foresee in the near future for Tonawanda schools, and how would you suggest we handle such challenges? And they could be any kinds of challenges that come up to you.
Well, I think we've been dealing right along with declining enrollment. I think that's something that's been going on for several years as our schools, our elementary schools have closed. It's been a long time since Delaware School was closed and Central School was closed. And I think we just continue to go downhill, so it would be, one of my concerns is how are we going to, granted, there's only so many kids in the city, but how are we as a city going to be able to gain families with children to put in here? And if it be new housing developments within our city, the old movie, Build It, they will come. And I really think that providing new homes is an opportunity to get new residents with children that would be attending our school district. I think that's a huge one. The taxes in a city that the poverty level is at 32%, taxes are a really big thing because people are struggling to put food on their table and gas in their gas tanks to get to the jobs that they may have. And so I think those two things, but if we can build our tax base with new housing, that will help. I'm hoping. Okay, I'll go with the 30 seconds because I'm rambling.
This is a really broad question, but I'll let you do what you want with it.
Okay.
If elected, what are your plans for the board? So I don't know if you have any specific, sounds a little more specific to me, any specific plans or goals? And that could be even for you as a board member, I suppose, or the board itself.
I can't say that I have any specific plans or goals. I'd like to see the school board function in unity. Certainly, when you have different individuals, you have different minds that think differently, but if they can collectively come together for the better of the city, that's what I would like to see, is to be able to work together in unison to go forward. I don't think anything comes when there's strife in between. It's as good as you're going to get from me.
Just a reminder that if you have any questions and want to write them, Betsy, wave your hand so you can collect them and bring them up. Another fun one. With cuts in state aid, what can be done?
Cuts in state aid. We too are experiencing, and certainly not by the degree that the school district gets it, but with the youth board, there's state funding that comes in to the youth board, then the youth board allocates it back out to agencies that assist our families and our kids here. And I know the state had been ever so kind to inform us that this year it was going to be dropping 25% from what it was last year. And next year it will drop another 25% off of this upcoming year that's coming. So it's getting harder to stretch a dollar, and I would have to say, going back to building our tax base and new homes for people to live in and getting some more tax revenue coming in would certainly help with the state not having as much money to provide for the school district.
What are your educational priorities for the school district?
Well, educational priorities for the school district. I don't know if I'm actually gonna answer this the correct way. I know that we've started this program, and it's probably been in effect for a few years, but as my baby's 28, I'm a little out of the loop on it, is No Child Left Behind. And I must say that I think it's very, very important that every child is offered the same equal education and to provide them with what they need to do when they graduate from high school, that they can further their education. And I think that that's really important, is to be able to provide them with those tools that they need. My youngest happened to be one of the ones that slipped through the cracks. And every year I was told, it's gonna click one day, it's gonna click. Well, in 12th grade, when it still isn't clicking, and you're finding out on Thursday whether or not you're gonna graduate on Sunday, life's a little rough for a senior. And I think my real goal would be is that we are providing the education that our kids need and providing the tools that they need to become responsible adults. Thank you.
This is the last question I have that has been turned in, so if there's any out there, I need them now. If elected, do you see yourself implementing any changes, or even, I would say, pursuing any changes? And if so, what?
Not necessarily, because I think you go back once again as the board should be working as one. So I don't think I, as one individual, am going to come in and make any major changes by myself. I don't know that there's major changes that need to be made at this point. I need to be more informed before I can say that there's something that needs to be changed.
I have a couple of questions that PTAs generally suggest that you candidates might like to respond to. How do you feel about involvement in areas such as shared decision-making, volunteering in the classroom, and communication between home and school?
Can we hit those one at a time?
Yes. Shared decision-making.
Can you be a little bit more precise
Yeah.
on the shared decision-making?
Shared decision-making is a term that means that all the stakeholders in the education here in Tonawanda would be involved in decision-making. So that would include school board, that would include superintendents, principals, teachers, parents, and sometimes even like high school students.
I think it's very important that it involves everybody. Everybody brings a little bit something to the table that's a little different. They can look at a situation differently from the area in which they're involved in it. So I think it is important to have shared decision-making amongst all, yeah.
Volunteering in the classroom.
That's how you know what's going on in the classroom, is volunteering. It's the only way to know what's going on in a classroom. To relate back to days when the kids were in school. You'd get one story from the kid, one story from the teacher. I think being there is a good thing. Being involved is a good thing, to know what's going on. It's the only way you know what's going on.
And then what about communication between home and school?
Communication between home and school, I know a lot of times nowadays, I don't know how much goes on right here with our district. I'm familiar with what was going on. I have 2 children that are teachers. They don't teach right now, but when they were teaching, they did a lot of it by email, back and forth to the parents. That's how they kept up. I think that it's a good thing to keep informed even weekly with the younger ones. My grandson, who goes to private school, actually has a nice folder that comes home every day. Every day it comes home. Everything's in there that needs to be in there. Documentation goes back and forth from parent to teacher. Little ones tend to need that little bit of extra because it's a big day nowadays for them. Full day kindergartens. It's a lot goes on for little people nowadays. So I think it's important, and I think we need to look at different ways in which to stay in contact. There are a lot of homes where there's maybe only one parent there, and you know, how do you keep both parents involved? So I think it's important that we find ways in which to be able to communicate on a very regular basis with the home life.
And I have one last one. What responsibilities, if any, should districts assume for dealing with problems that students bring to school with them, like poverty, hunger, emotional illness, drug abuse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
How should we be a part of it? That's what it is basically.
What
comes down to.
responsibilities, if any, should districts assume for dealing with the problems that students bring with them?
I'd like to see the school district, when they see that there's a problem that needs to be addressed, you may have parents that don't know where to go to get the help. And I'd like to see that if there is a teacher that's has concerns, or a guidance counselor that has concerns, that, you know, maybe the school gathers, administration gathers together and has a small discussion in how do we go about guiding this family to the right resources to get the help that they need, be it if it's food or counseling or, you know, whatever their need may be. I think it is important, because the school, these are educators. They should be able to know what's out there and how to get people to them. So not every parent is able to do that.
Thank you, Brenda. And now Brenda will have 2 minutes for her closing statement.
Okay, 2 minutes for my closing statement. Okay. As I said, I've never ran for an office seat before of any sorts. This would be my first. I have a concern with the decrease in the student population that I've already mentioned to you. With the decline in the student population, I also have great concern that we have probably one of the largest administrations we've ever had. I come from a graduating class of 400 plus students. I know the state has certain obligations that need to be met, or that we need to meet those certain obligations, and life is definitely different from 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. But I kind of think that we got a lot of fat in administration, and I hate to see our kids suffer because of the fat in the administration. I really am all about giving the kids things that they need be it if it is a one-on-one teacher for a while to get them grounded in a course that maybe they're having trouble with, to be able to give them that and so that they can become a responsible, thriving adult. I think that's what our goal in education should be. And as I mentioned, we're not a rich community, so our tax-paying residents can't afford huge tax bills in order to provide that. I'm interested in our city as a community, in our city as a school district, and I'd love to see people move here and want to be here and want to send their kids here, and that this be a place where they can grow and be proud of. And thank you all for coming. It'd be an honor to be able to serve. Thank you.
Let's give Brenda a hand. So I'd like to thank the PTSA for having this event, and thank you all for coming. Betsy, thanks for setting it up. Teresa, thanks for serving as timekeeper. So maybe Brenda would stand around and talk if anybody wanted to speak to her individually. Thank you.